Hi, everyone. Thanks for attending the Email Marketing for ABM webinar today. Before we begin, I have a few housekeeping items to cover. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll send an email out to all the registrants once the recording is available. And more importantly, if you have any questions during the presentation, please submit them in the chat, and we will make sure to follow up with you. So let's get on to the fun stuff. My name is Charm Bianchini. I'm the head of global demand at Engagio, and I'm thrilled that joining me today is Matt Benatti, CEO of LeadGnome. And so we're excited to talk to you about email marketing, so let's get on with the show. And we're going to be talking about email marketing. And so the topics we will cover will be the state of email marketing, data management, what is that? What does that actually mean? Best practices for email marketing when you're doing ABM, and then how to close the loop and what timely and good feedback processes look like. So with that, let me kick it off to Matt, who's going to take us through the state of email marketing. Matt?
All right. Thanks, Charm. Appreciate it. It's great to be part of this webinar. I think it's pretty clear to most folks that in B2B, email really helps with outreach and provides a tremendous amount of capabilities because we can reach people with the right messages in a timing that makes sense. We receive a tremendous amount of ROI, and you can see these stats here. I won't go through them all, but even folks like Topo, where they do research, have said that email is one prong of a three-prong approach, typically used in the ABM plays, and it is generally the most frequent outreach model of all of them. And it's because of such great return, such great engagement with folks, and so email, while there have been talks about it sort of fading away, has clearly not, and in fact it has increased our ability to reach people, again, at the right time and with the right message.
All right, thanks for those stats, Matt. So what I wanted to do was just share a few more on email marketing. So this is Ascend2, a research-based marketing company. They do a lot of surveys, and this is a recent email marketing survey from February 2019. And what they did was they asked leading marketers some of the critical challenges for email marketing. So the question was, what are the most critical challenges to the success of an email marketing strategy? And I love the top four here. Number one coming in was increasing engagement. So 50% of the people said that they have a challenge with increasing engagement in their emails. Next is using email for lead generation, so 42%. Increasing conversions came in at 40%. And the last one is improving list data quality at 38%. So all of those are right around the same numbers, and we're going to cover those today. Another question that Ascend2 asked was about email marketing effectiveness. So they asked, what are the most effective types of email used for marketing purposes? And I love number one. It says personalized messaging, which means that 62% of the people who took this survey found that if you personalize the messaging in your emails, those are going to be the most effective. And that's right in line with ABM. That's right in line with what we're going to be talking about today. All right, so enough of the stats. Let's actually dive into the meat of the presentation, and we're going to talk about data management and what that means. So Matt, why don't you kick it off?
Great. There we go. So it's really important when we talk about data to recognize that our databases in our CRMs and our marketing automation platforms are key assets, right? It's that data which allows us to engage with organizations and people within the organizations. And if that data is not ready, it's not clean, it's not maintained well, then we will miss in our outreach. And so it's no surprise that people are concerned about this. And part of the reason for that is we know from many, many studies, I cite a couple of statistics here from both ZoomInfo and Hart Hanks, but there are many studies out there saying that the decay rate is quite significant over the year's time, 60, 70, some place it higher than 70%. And that's because people are changing jobs and companies are rebranding, or they change phone numbers, people get promoted, all kinds of reasons that our databases are changing, or at least that are decaying, and we need to change them. We need to maintain them to keep up with these changes. And one of the ways that we want to be able to do this is in a continuous fashion, right? I think long ago are the days where we could update our databases once a year, every half year. Even once a quarter is not truly good enough as we work within our ABM plays and trying to reach folks with the kinds of engagements that we want to do. It's very poor in productivity if we're reaching out to folks and let's say maybe somebody's title is changed and they went from an end user to your buyer, and we're still sending them or engaging them in a way where we're providing them with information that an end user of our solution would want. And so if we take a look at this closed loop scenario, it's very typical that we would send out emails from our marketing automation platform, our CRMs, maybe our sales development cadence systems, and that email goes to a contact, and either there's an auto reply or a human reply, and oftentimes things stop there, right? We'll pick up those human replies and we'll discard the rest. And I think that we should really reimagine what would happen if we close this loop, because there is significant account and contact information in all of these replies. And so what I advocate for, especially in an ABM model, where when we're sending into an account, engaging with an account with email, those replies coming back are a wealth of information, details about that account, and can only help us be more personal and engaging with that organization. And so you can see here that we want to mine that information. We want to pull out extract all this great data, changes, or pieces of information you might not have had, increase in our database health, and automatically moving that into a CRM or a marketing automation system. And in the sort of the purview of ABM, lead to account matching along with that enrichment is really, really important and a foundational piece. So, I just want to make sure that people understand there is a way to continuously enrich data, and we receive this type of data with every single send. And since we know that email is a workhorse for us as marketing and sales teams in the ABM model, we really owe it to ourselves and, more importantly, to our customers to capture this information so that we're better able to segment and personalize the engagement as we go.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, definitely need a good data enrichment strategy, because at the end of the day, data is what matters. I can't stress this enough. Developing the right list is key. No matter if you're doing email marketing like we're talking about today, direct mail, trying to get people to attend a field marketing event, if you don't have the right list, it doesn't matter. You could spend $2 million on a fancy direct mail, or a lot of money getting a keynote speaker. But again, if you don't have the right list and you can't invite the people that you need to invite, it's all for nothing. And so what you really need to do, especially for good email marketing practices, but when you're doing ABM, is unify your data. You have to be able to pull it all in and see it at an account view. And then invest and cleanse in some sort of data management system, right? As Matt was saying, it doesn't have to be that you're doing this with a big data provider out there. If you're using an email mining solution, you get some of that data enrichment every single time that you send out an email. And then for ABM, make sure that you're looking at integrating data from multiple data sources. So you're not just looking at your typical marketing automation or your CRM system that sales and marketing uses. Look at some other things. Look at bringing in corporate emails, Outlook or Gmail. Are your target accounts responding to salespeople via Outlook or Gmail messages, right? Maybe that's important. Maybe you want to pull those people into an email campaign. Make sure you're looking at website visits. See what kind of activities, if they're known or unknown, are happening for that account on your website. That can be also really powerful information. And so how do you do this? Like, what does that actually mean? Well, it means kind of what Matt alluded to is you need to have some sort of lead to account matching system, and Engagio does this really well. So, integrate your data for ABM email marketing. And so again, I was talking about bringing in your CRM, your marketing automation, your website, your emails. Bring that all in, match leads to accounts, and then send out your emails based on that information. So for example, if you don't have lead to account matching and you want to send out an email to GE, you look in your CRM system and GE might be listed as GE, GE Inc., General Electric, etc., right? You might have leads connected to companies. You might have contacts connected to accounts. But how do you ensure that you're bringing in all the leads, all those companies, all the contacts, and all those accounts, right? Sometimes even just pulling in a domain, that doesn't work. So investing in a solution that has a lead to account matching capability can be really, really powerful. And then you're able to easily see everyone under the GE umbrella, and you bring them in and you know that the emails that I'm sending out are going to include every single person that I want to include. And so once you have your data kind of squared away and you've built that solid ABM account foundation, now we want to get into some email marketing best practices. So the first tip that we have for you guys is really great ABM emails require personalization. We saw it on that stat that I just listed off. 62% of people talk about personalization being effective. And so personalization is all about really being personal, so making sure that the message matters, that they care about that message. It's all about being timely, right? Make sure that you're sending it out at an appropriate time or you're doing proper follow-up. And then being relevant. You should be sending emails that those people care about. And so you might be asking, why is this so important? Well, for ABM, you're often targeting execs. And so when you're targeting key personas like executive buyers, those people, they like to feel important, right? They want to feel special. We all do. We want to feel understood. They're also inundated, right? So how are you going to stand out? Another thing with ABM, since it's a target account strategy, is many times you're going after cold accounts. You're going after people that you think are going to have the highest propensity to buy and the greatest lifetime customer value. And so they're cold accounts. They may not have engaged with you. So they're companies you don't know. And what you need to do is break through the noise and create a lasting impression. And so with ABM, you also want these awesome results. And so using email personalization can really help. There's another stat by ITSMA. They do a lot of research on ABM as well. And they say that 75% of execs will read unsolicited marketing materials that contain ideas that might be relevant to their business. So basically, if you are personal and timely and going to give them some sort of value, they'll read it. And so when you think about email personalization, don't just think about first name or by company, right? Really dig into that account. Maybe you want to talk about industry, financial services, or healthcare. Maybe you want to look at what's going on within that company. Maybe they've announced that they're opening up some new departments or new operations in different countries. You want to look at title changes. So this is really important, and you can bring in that email mining software. You want to look at maybe people who are no longer managers but are directors now, and send them a different message. Or sales trigger events. Maybe there was an acquisition, etc. And then another couple stats on email personalization is, if you are personalizing your emails, you'll see an average open rate of 16% or higher and average click rates of 9% or higher. So pretty powerful stuff that can make your emails much more effective. And so here's an example. This is a personalized video invitation that many of you are probably familiar with. You're able to personalize a message or many messages within the email. We did this, and we personalized on first name a couple places throughout the email, and basically asked that first name, how will you stand out to your audience in 2019? And what we saw was that click-to-open rates doubled. So we usually get around 25% click-to-open rate, and we saw when we sent out this email, we got around a 50%. So really, really good in terms of personalization making a difference. So tip number 2 that I wanted to talk about today was all about leveraging target account engagement data. And this could be a webinar in itself, so I'm going to kind of go through this quickly. But basically, target account engagement data can be so powerful. It first and foremost allows you to understand target account engagement. So for example, I put a little screenshot that we track. And so we can see right here, who are some top people in a target account? What did they do the week before? So this is the week ending September 25th. What were some of their top activities? And using this to pull into your emails can make it or break it. You can use this data to segment your lists. So for example, you can pull in people who visited your Uberflip Resource Center in the last week. Or maybe you want to look at non-behaviors, because non-behaviors can be very interesting and telling as well. So maybe people who you invited to visit your Uberflip Resource Center but actually didn't. So all that can be used in segmentation of your lists. Sending trigger emails. We love this one. You can send out your broad-based emails, but actually looking and tracking the behavior after a broad-based email or maybe some sort of activity on your website can be super powerful. And so this is where trigger emails come in. And what we've seen is trigger emails, when used effectively, they can increase engagement and open rates by 40%. So for example, what we love to do is track our target accounts, see if target accounts are coming to a demo request page, and maybe they're abandoning the page. And so they never filled out the form to request a demo. Well, maybe 4 minutes later, you automate this trigger email to go out if it's the right person and the right account, and you send them some more information to try to get them to change their mind and actually engage with you. So we see tons of great activities and engagement, as well as increases in registration from just some simple trigger emails. Another really important one to do is competitor campaign monitoring. This is simple. This is easy. You've got to remember that your competitors are sending to your same audience. So why not do some easy monitoring of what they're sending out? Subscribe to their emails. Follow them on Twitter. Look at what they're doing on LinkedIn, right? You can get valuable competitive information from some of the messaging that they're sending out, some of the offers that they're sending out, some of the events that they're running, and you can see if it's working or not. And you can use that to inform your strategy and adjust if you need to. Another great one that you can do with target account engagement is re-engaging your audience. And so you guys probably know you spend so much money acquiring a customer, acquiring a new name, that you don't want to just bring them into your database and leave them and let them go dark, right? What you need to do is have an automated re-engagement campaign running in the background. And that doesn't mean just one email that's set up and maybe people who haven't responded in 6 months or a year trying to get them to take advantage of a new offer, right? It can't just be one email. It needs to be a series of very thoughtful emails that go over a course of months or 6 months, whatever it takes. And most of the re-engagement campaigns that are very effective are not just email-based. So it's a multi-channel experience. You might be trying to engage them over email, but then you also might want to bring in some digital advertising and try to get them engaging that way. You might want to give them a phone call, whatever it takes. Don't just give up on people who've gone dark and kind of become your sleepy subscribers. And then lastly, a great way for target account engagement is all about managing replies and good list management. So I think you guys probably know replies do improve engagement. It allows you to mine these human responses and take action on them in a very timely way. So for example, if you send out an email and then you tell your SDRs to follow up and they follow up over a week or 2-week period, they might try to call and email everyone, and there's certain people that they can't even get a hold of or can't get a response, and so they might just move on to the next, right? But if you're not managing those replies and seeing that, out of the 100 people they were reaching out to, 30 of them are out of the office and they're only coming back in a month, that's going to be wasted SDR time and also reflect poorly on your email marketing results. So use those replies and actually have the SDRs set reminders, right? Set tasks. These 30 people are out of the country for a month. Let me follow up when they come back. Another way for this human engagement is on people who are leaving the company. If they've left the company, figure out who their replacement is. A lot of times you grab that information in replies and follow up with those people in order to try to turn them into a customer. So here's an example. This is all about an email that I pulled on sales and marketing engagement. So first what I did, I looked at our Tier 1 accounts. And for the past week, I kind of monitored sales and marketing engagement. So the green is sales engagement, which means emails or meetings that they've had with these Tier 1 accounts of ours. And yellow is sales engagement. And so what I wanted to do was send them an email when these Tier 1 accounts really are engaging. So I looked at this data and then was able to send them an email. So I was able to see, okay, maybe for a 30-day period of time, there's some of our Tier 1 accounts that have 3 minutes to 30 minutes of engagement. And when I sent them an email, you can see the results here. It really does work. I was able to get a 31.3% open rate and a 60% click-to-open rate, which resulted in 359 clicks. So that's the power of using this target account engagement data. It allows you to really refine your list. I didn't have to send this to 40,000 people to get 400 clicks. I was able to send it to 601 people who opened it. Actually, we sent it to like 1,000 or a little bit over that, and then 31%, 601 opened, and from that, 359 people clicked. All right, so tip number 3 that I wanted to walk you through is always be testing. And so what's really important is to conduct tests on a regular basis to optimize. You need to conduct tests for your business, so don't listen to a webinar and hear that one company is doing this and just assume it's going to work for you guys. Make sure that you're testing. In fact, we have a regular testing calendar and cadence that we do at Engagio. Once a week we conduct tests and we make sure that we implement those findings into future emails. The other thing that I will stress is once you're doing your testing, make sure that you're using a statistical significance calculator to make sure that, if you are going to act on some of these results, that they actually make sense to do so. So here's some simple kind of tests that you guys should be looking at. It's subject lines. Maybe you want to personalize the first name or the company name in the subject line. Another great one is video versus non-video. A good one is also day of week or time of day. So a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, I have to get my emails out at 8 in the morning. You actually don't. There's many other times of day. We've seen some really great ones from afternoon sends for us. And so that proves to be one to continuously test. Another one that isn't even on here is looking at, what groups of people are they early top of funnel kinds of people, or are they mid-funnel, or are they late stage? What are those people looking like? What characteristics do they have? Is it top of funnel people that usually respond to your thought leadership webinars? Do your case study webinars usually work better for people who are bottom of funnel? When you have that data, then you can segment your list and send to 1,000 people again versus the 40,000. Sender name versus company. So should I be sending emails from Charm? Should Matt be sending emails from himself? Or should we use our companies like LeadGnome or Engagio? The amount of personalization for ABM is also important. Do you need to look at doing an email that takes you 30 minutes to write with all this heavy personalization, or should you be doing something that's more 5 minutes or 10 minutes of personalization? And then, of course, HTML versus text. So always good things to be looking at. And then here's an example of event invitations. So we had a field marketing event. And basically, you can see the one on the right. This is the broad automated invite that we did through our marketing automation system. By sending out a broad invite to people in the San Jose area, we got a 3% response rate. That's pretty poor. And we didn't get any information, right? We just got either they're responding via the form and they're coming or not coming. And so what we wanted to do, we wanted to test it. So we asked our sales reps to get involved. We asked them to send personalized event invitations. And what we saw was amazing. We saw a 43% response rate. And so that's actually over a 10x. And what the reps got was, they generated a lot more registrations for our event, but they also started to form relationships with these people. They actually had some people respond back saying, I can't attend, but I'd love for you to come on site and deliver the information. And so, a simple test like this can tell you how to get the most bang out of your buck. And then here's one that we're still testing right now. And so this is all around creating engaging emails. This is email annotations for Gmail's promotion tab. A test, and if you guys know, Gmail added this probably about a year ago, and basically what it is it does this through machine learning, and Gmail is able to group and highlight email promotions that people are most likely interested in. And you can see that on the right we have some examples. So we have an example of the promotions tab where this webinar itself has a little image. So it says email marketing best practices. And even on the right, you can see just an email we did on tidying up your data for ABM, so kind of jumping on the Marie Kondo bandwagon and showing some images of folded sweaters. And so what it does is it's highlighting this key information for people, and really it's creating engagement, right? It's adding images. It's trying to bring your promotions to life and make them more discoverable and inspiring. So far, we don't have any kind of real stats on if this is working, but we have that are significant, but it proves to be working, and so we're going to test it until we have some actual significance. All right, with that, let me turn over tip 4 to Matt.
Great. Yeah, a lot of great information there. And tip 4 is an example of what we can do ahead of our competitors if we're looking at replies. Steve Richards calls this old customer, new company. It's when we see a trigger event when somebody leaves the company. Now, we want to be helpful and authentic and genuine when reaching out to somebody who has left the company. And the idea is that when we send an email to this person, we're going to receive an auto response that says that person is no longer with the company. Generally speaking, we will find this out in Replies much faster than we'll find this out on LinkedIn, where people take lots of time to change their LinkedIn profile to reflect that they've left. Also, databases out there generally, while they're trying to discover this information, they're on a certain cadence of updating their databases. But with Replies, it's every time you send, it's a continuous process. And so we will find these left the company replies. And it's so helpful to make somebody feel that you truly care, that you want a deep, professional relationship with them, that if they need help as they transition, that we reach out to them. And this genuine concern or happiness for the place that they're going, et cetera, is a breath of fresh air, right? You're not trying to sell to them. You're truly engaging with them at a personal level, and that means a lot. So we would encourage folks to make sure that you're looking for these types of trigger events that, from a tactical perspective, which is to remove them from your current email outreach because they're not with that organization, and so open rates, deliverability rates, et cetera, start to go down if we don't take care of this. But more from a ongoing relationship perspective is to reach out with them. And then when they land, we want to determine if that is part of your ABM strategy. Is that a good account for us as we look to sell into that account and engage that account? And if it is, well, we've got an ongoing relationship. We've built up rapport here, and reaching out to them when they land is a super way to increase significantly your ability to close deals along those lines. In fact, the statistic from Gartner, there's been multiple studies on this, and they all seem to coalesce around 74, 75%, is that, if you're looking for these things and you're engaging with people, if you're that first person in, you're going to win that deal 74% of the time and literally leave your competition in the dust because you knew about this ahead of time and in a authentic and genuine manner were able to continue your relationship with that person. So tip 4 is really to encourage long-term relationships built on trust and genuine, authentic need to keep in touch, right? And so build that trust during the good times and also during transitions, which could be good, could be bad, but either way, you're there to support those folks that you have worked with over time, and you want to show them that you want to continue to do that. This turns out to be one of the most powerful pipeline building sales trigger events that you can find. And so, just at an overall look at email outreach best practices, certainly in an ABM fashion, we want sales and marketing alignment, right? That allows us to engage, as Charm said, in a multi-touch manner, and we're leveraging information from all aspects, whether that's in websites or replies and so on. And so we want to look at that information and use it properly to not simply talk to the persona in a general sense, but personalize even more deeply to the person. Maybe they were out of the office on a vacation, and it would be nice to say to somebody, welcome back. Maybe you'd still rather be on that beach, but hey, we've got this great webinar coming up, or really wanted to talk to you about this, this next piece in the process for your organization, leveraging our solution, et cetera. Those kinds of true personalizations go a long way to building that rapport and building that trust. Time when we want to reach out to folks, optimizing connect rates, right? The timing is everything in life. And when we see, as an example, out-of-office emails, timing is critical for both the person that's out of the office. So, for instance, our sales team members might want to pause a cadence and then start the cadence up again when the person's back in the office. That's best practice that many of our customers use. But also while they're out of the office, if we have been introduced to a new person that can handle the day-to-day tasks when your primary contact's out of the office, it's really important to reach out when that person, your primary contact, is out of the office, because it gives us a very natural touch point, and that timing is critical. So both from the person that's out and the person that's back in the office, timing is critical, and we should leverage that to the best of our ability so that engagement continues with that organization. And always be authentic, transparent, etc. So again, maybe with an out-of-office example, and you're going to reach out to the person who's back in the office, it really goes a long way if you say, hey, Joe was out of the office and mentioned that we should contact you. We didn't want you and your organization to miss out on this great event, whether that's a webinar, et cetera. That transparency and forthrightness goes a long way to building trust with yet another person within the organization. And so these best practices all work really well together in an ABM approach to engage the account more broadly and fully and in a more personal, honest, and transparent way.
All right, great. So what we wanted to do is spend the last few minutes talking about closing the loop. And I love this quote right here, right? It's all about timing, what Matt was talking about. And this quote is, the difference between lettuce and garbage is timing. And it's so true. And so with marketers, we test when we should send out our emails. We test what should be in the subject line, all that kind of stuff that I just went through. But don't forget, right, you finally have great data. You're sending out some really personalized content in your emails. Don't forget about the follow-up. You guys have to, see that through. And so sales a lot of times needs help. And you need to know what works for sales so you can instruct and kind of guide them for best follow-up and best emails. So here's one thing to understand is what time and what day of the week should they be following up? When do they get most people responding to them? And then another good thing to know is how fast should the follow-up be, right? Should it be within a minute? Should they be really using that engagement to see that? Or should it be 2 minutes or 3 minutes? What does that drop-off look like? So you can provide sales all of this data and tell them you just ran this awesome email campaign, and this is when they should be following up and within what time frame. And then powering all of this effective follow-up is, of course, technology. And that's why ABM today, it's nothing new, but that's why ABM today is so efficient and effective. It's because we have technology and it allows us to scale. And so using an ABM platform like Engagio can help you understand what target accounts are engaging. It can help those sales development reps or your AEs or even marketing prioritize when they should be sending these emails. And then using technology like Matt's been talking about, email reply mining, right? This can help you if you're in marketing. You can send an email from an inbox, but you don't have to have someone in marketing going through and looking for any kind of responses, right? You can see all of those human responses and group them into different buckets. And then sales is able to take action when it counts on or no longer with the company. And then a little case study for us is we've been using LeadGnome for the past year, sending out emails, and this just shows how much decay you have in databases. And what we found is with people who are no longer with the company or out of the office, we added 17,000 new people in the last year. And so when you take that 17,000 and times it by your average cost per lead, you can see what kind of return on investment you're getting from a solution like that. On the right, you can see in a screenshot, so this was a human reply. Sometimes, of course, you want the human replies to all be about, I want to meet with you guys right now, or please schedule the demo, this looks awesome, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes there are also just some feel-good, nice emails for your marketing team. And so this one was an email that we sent out with our mascot, Geo, and we put him in, he was baking a pie for Thanksgiving, and the person responded back saying, I have absolutely nothing important to say, but that freaking whale with the flipped hair and pie is iconic, right? And so that makes Marketers Day. It makes us feel good about what we're doing. So with that, let me turn it over to Matt so we can start wrapping up.
Yeah, thanks, Charm. I think the idea here around ABM that I want to stress is that when we engage with organizations, particularly around emails we've been talking about today, the replies that come back, whether those are auto responses or human replies, are coming from those organizations. And so, if you will, from the horse's mouth. They're completely fresh data if you can get the data out of these replies. And I've seen many organizations, and I personally have manually tried to extract this information. It's just very time-consuming, particularly for marketing and sales teams, where marketing has a typically higher volume, and sales, they want to sell. They don't want to do data entry. So it's, generally speaking, these replies, except for a few types, are being wasted, right? We try and cherry pick if we're doing this manually. So most of it goes into, if you will, a bit bucket. The replies just sit there. We either delete them or move them into a folder because we kid ourselves into thinking we're going to take a look at them sometimes. Well, we just need an automated way. Automation provides productivity, and particularly around an ABM model, productivity is critically important, especially when that automation provides us greater depth and breadth about the accounts and the people within accounts in order to hyper-personalize and increase our engagement. And so that's what LeadGnome brings to the table. I'm just, when we see our customers who have done outbound models, more traditional outbound or even inbound models, switch to ABM, we love that because we know that the data that LeadGnome will provide back to them is going to be a huge win for that organization.
All right, great. And just a little bit about Engagio. So as we wrap up here, we know that email marketing isn't going away. It's a very, very effective channel, especially for ABM. And like I said before, if you can pull in your target account engagement and view what they're doing and be able to write emails or send emails based on that, you can get some really powerful results. So if you want to know more about Engagio and what kind of offer we have, check us out at engagio.com. And then hopefully this information was informative and educational, and just to leave you with some key takeaways. Really implement a solid data management strategy. This will help you immensely with database health as well as list building. Use that engagement data, personalize and test and optimize on a regular basis to penetrate your target accounts. And then ensure proper sales follow-up with email reply mining and timely execution. It's a whole entire closed-loop process. You can't just stop when the campaign is executed. You've got to help sales, and you've got to make sure that it is a good process. So with that, I want to say thank you. If you guys have any questions for myself or for Matt, you can see our contact information right here. Follow us on Twitter, reach out to us on LinkedIn, or email us. And again, want to say thank you to Matt for joining me today. We will definitely be available if you do have questions, and we'll send you this recording as soon as it's available. So thanks so much.